Right. So I'm Preeti here. I have almost 15 years of experience into IT. I worked in different companies, played different roles as a developer, tester, build engineer, DevOps lead, and currently working as a DevOps manager in a MNC. And I have worked on different CI/CD pipelines. I've got a good experience on CI/CD strategies. I'm a certified professional in Kubernetes and Terraform. Have implemented Terraform to spin up the complete architecture and used Kubernetes to manage multiple clusters, like worked on different clusters like on-prem, EKS, and GCP clusters. So that's a brief about myself. And before we progress the course, I just want to give you some intro about the course. This DevOps course will help you understand the real scenarios in DevOps. It will help you understand how DevOps works in the real projects. Through my experience I have gained over the years, I have designed the course with the scenarios such a way that anyone who can master this course, means who have learned this course well, can work in the projects independently as well as clear their interviews, right? That's the agenda of this course. And the main objective, or the main point we are looking from the students who take up this course, is the time and their effort and dedication. So DevOps is all about the practicals. It's more on hands-on. So every day you need to put your time and effort to do the hands-on, but not just listening the session. When you do the hands-on, you gain maximum from the course. So that's the things we need to look in when we are interested, when we are enrolling for this course. And again, this course is designed for everyone, like whoever are interested to learn DevOps. You might be a beginner in IT, you might be an experienced, you might be coming from a different background. Everyone can benefit out of it. Again, the reason, the way it was designed in such a way that from the basics, like any topic, if you take Git or Terraform or whatever, we start from the basics till the advanced concepts with the scenarios and implementation of the particular tool or the strategy into the pipeline, right? That so that you understand the tool thoroughly. It's not just learn the tool and move on. We will learn the tool, we'll come back and implement it in the CI/CD pipeline. What is CI/CD and all, we'll talk about it. I'm just giving you an overview or just about the course, right? So that you will master every tool. So how do you master every tool? Apart from the live class, what are all the material we are providing to master the course? How are you evaluated? All of that we'll discuss towards the end. So now let me go ahead with the agenda of today's class. This is the agenda: to understand and get a big picture of DevOps, roles and responsibilities of a DevOps engineer, DevOps delivery pipeline, DevOps tools and skills. These are the major things we'll be looking at into. And yeah, before we go ahead, anyone have any questions? If you have any question, you can unmute and speak out, or else you can also use your chat window. Anything from your end before we go on? All right, I'll consider it as a no. And let's begin with understanding DevOps. Like I said, let's go from the basics till understanding thoroughly. First, we'll understand what is DevOps, why we need to learn DevOps, why DevOps came into picture. Then from tomorrow, we'll see how to implement it practically. So let us go through these queries. Like let's go through what is DevOps. I believe majority of you might be having an idea of what DevOps is, or else if anyone new, this will help you. We already know that DevOps is a combination of two terms, right? Development team and operations, right? What is a development team? Who are developers? People who write the code, right? Or who build the application, who work with the customers to understand the requirements of the application, comes under development team. Ops teams are nothing but the people who are admins, network technicians, DBA. All this comes under ops teams, right? In short, we can say ops team work for uh, like infra setup, infrastructure changes, right? So this is the brief description or differentiation of these two teams. Also, If you take up any application or any product, let's say you are using google.com. If you look into Google, um, you are using this means it might have gone through a lot of process before it reaches the end user, right? Or else take up any online banking application. You are using this application means it has gone through a lot of process of development, testing, release, and then you are using it, right? So it means any application or any product before it reaches the end user, it goes through a lot of process and there are multiple teams involved to make the application or product available for end user, right? In that, the dev team and ops team are the major teams. We can say there were so many other teams, but we are focusing or talking about development team and ops team. And these are their major roles. And we call these guys as developers or programmers, right? And we call them here, these guys as ops, operation guys or admins or infra teams, right? So these are their major tasks. Let's imagine developers, or I'm including testers also here, right? And let's say developers have written some code, right? And let's say they want to implement, or they want to call some API, or they want to trigger some test, let's say unit test. So they need some infra, they need some operating system, or they may need some service, right? So operating system configuration, the service, all of this would be taken care by ops team. So developers would raise a request with the ops team. Ops teams should serve their request and allow development team, test team to perform their tasks, right? Let's say developers have requested for some infra change and ops team are providing them. Meanwhile, before ops team provide or serve the request of developers, they will do lot of checks. Like, will this infra remain stable with these changes, or is it going to bring any service down, or any network disconnected, or any access constraints? So all of this would be checked before they serve the request, right? So obviously it would take some time for ops teams to serve the request. Meanwhile, development team are still waiting for the change they need, right? So like developers think that ops teams are taking too much time to serve the request. Ops teams think that developers are always requesting something which they are not sure of. Meaning these two are separate teams. Their core competencies, their skill set is different. Like developers will be knowing programming languages, they'll be knowing the database, they'll be having database knowledge, they'll be having build tool knowledge and all. Ops teams will be working with deployments and like their skill set is completely different, their core competencies are different, and each team cannot understand the challenges or requirements of other. Also, development team always looks for agility in the infra because they may want to run some test cases, they may have to build some code, they may need some agility or updates or new features or new changes over the infra. Whereas ops teams always look for stability in the infrastructure. If something is not stable, if something is going down, ops teams would be responsible, right? So they always make sure the infrastructure is stable. So during this process, ops teams would take some time to provide the infra they were requesting. Meanwhile, developers are still waiting for the change and they don't know why it is taking some time. Hence, there arises some gap between these two teams, right? Like each team doesn't understand the challenges of others. There are no proper collaboration, no proper collaboration, right? So there arises some gap. How to overcome this gap? Can anyone answer this question? How to eliminate this gap between the teams and make them work with the
By
proper
working together,
understanding? Okay, Praveen says by working together. Like how can they work together?
by having continuous meetings.
Okay. Okay, so here I'm talking about why DevOps came in, right? First thing is to eliminate the gap between the teams. To eliminate the gap between the teams and make them work with a proper collaboration. Is that the only reason? Of course, it's not the only reason. There were other reasons. Let me talk about other reasons. Let's talk about, yes, developers are writing the code, the application is ready. They will execute some unit test cases. For anyone who are new here, like who are coming from a different background, I would like to tell you Unit testing is nothing but the initial phase of testing. Means developers will write the code, even they test their code themselves with some test tool kind of, that's called unit testing. Okay, they will test from their end. So means let's say the basic or the fundamental level. Okay, let's say this unit code is done, they have tested it, then they will send this application to testing team, right? QA team. Of course, I'm including QA also under development, but yeah, this is the actual thing. So they'll send it to QA. Now, this testing team will test the application, means application will go through different types of testing, like functional testing, regression testing, again, different levels of testing, different types of testing, and so on. But I would like to make it short, like let's say, yes, testers will test it. If this find the bugs, who will fix the bugs? Let's say testers tested the application, they find some defects or bugs in the application. What's the next process? Any idea from anyone?
Again, developer team will fix that.
Right, they will send it to developers, developers will fix it. This process keep on continuing, right? During this process, if they need any infra changes, if they need any services, if they need any new upgrades on the infra, they would request the ops teams, they'll serve it, and this process keep on continuing. Let's suppose now the application is defect free. Okay, so the application is ready. It should go for release and reach the end users. So who will do this? Ops teams, right? See, I'm talking about the strategies without DevOps. So they'll share the application to ops teams. Ops teams are the guys who will release the application to production. Means end users will receive the or see the new features. End users can use the application. If anyone new to IT or anyone new to concepts, release means like you are uh, deploying the application or you are installing the application for end users to use it. You will install or deploy the application on some servers from where end users can access. You will provide the endpoint or a URL, right? Like you get google.com or you get amazon.com. Right? So that end users will use it. Means the application is deployed and ready for use by end users. So this is the task of ops teams. Okay, fine. Ops teams are trying to release it. During this process, ops teams will have the challenges. Like the first challenge is, okay, QA and dev team. Let's combine these together and I'm going to call them as dev team. Okay, dev team has handed over the application to ops team. Of course, they'll also hand over some instruction document along with the application for ops teams to understand how to install this application. Let's suppose it's a Java application. They need to understand which version of Java they have to install on the servers, right? Because there should be some compatibility. And yeah, they'll follow the instruction document. But they may have to install the same Java on different environments like Windows, Linux, again, different versions of Windows, different distributions of Linux, and so on. So this instruction document may be working on one operating system, it might not be working on other. Or else the instruction provided by developers may not be understood by ops team. Or else instructions provided by dev team may not be working in reality. These are all the practical challenges, right? So it would take some time to fix the compatibility, right? To install the right version, to install the compatible versions and see the application is running. And let's say application is running. Then they should see there will be nothing broken, right? If something is broken, something went wrong, they have to fix it and bring the application back. They have to see the application is highly available, means it's available and running always. These days, most of the application are highly available, right? They'll be available 24/7 without any downtime. So ops teams have to take care of all of this. And let's suppose again there were some new features. Developers have released some new features, right? Even they have to implement and deploy it. Ops teams have to see that the new features are deployed into the system. So all of this would definitely need some time, a lot of effort. More people have to work on it to make sure the application is compatible on different versions, different operating system and all. So definitely this would take some considerable amount of time, maybe a 6 months. Let's say application is ready by September. It might be going into live in the next month, next February, next year, so on. It is taking considerable amount of time. Is there any solution to fix this, right? So to make the deployments faster, to increase the velocity of deployments, right? To pace up the velocity of deployments, again, DevOps came in to make the deployments faster so that end users can see the application quickly. Means let's suppose, okay, Amazon.com is there. They want to release a new feature. Overnight, they can release it, right? It doesn't take us 6 months or so now by implementing DevOps, right? That's where again DevOps came in. These are the best. There were so many applications today in the market which implements DevOps for faster deployments like Amazon.com, Facebook, online banking applications, right? What is the difference? In the traditional strategy, without DevOps, they were handovering this application to ops teams, right? But now with DevOps, they'll hand over this to DevOps team. You might be asking, DevOps team also have to do the same process, right? It's the same, like the concept is same. DevOps also should release the application, but earlier, the way this dev team is handovering the application got changed, and also the artifact or else the final artifact dev teams were receiving is also changed. Means earlier, let me give a simple example. See, don't worry, this is just a high level picture. I'm going to deep dive into this in every bit as we progress. This is just a high level picture. In the traditional approach, let's say it's a Java application, developers shared WAR file to ops teams. Now ops teams have to struggle about their dependencies, their compatibilities, and have to deploy it. But now the way they hand over means dev teams are handovering it in a containerized form as a container, as a Docker image. So the way a DevOps teams deploy it also got changed. Means the way of handover changed, even the way of deployment changed, which made the deployments faster, which increased the velocity of deployments. That's why DevOps came in. Am I clear with the second point? The high level view of why DevOps came in, how they were containerizing it, how it made the difference, how can it eliminate the environment, compatibilities, all of that we will discuss. But why DevOps came in and how it is like, how could it resolve the issue? Is this much clear for all of you? Can we proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. This is the second reason we were talking about, right? And is there any reason? Anyone can guess of the third reason, which is very simple. Majority of you might be having some idea of it.
Automate the process.
To automate the entire workflow. That's true. Like, okay, from the point of dev team, okay, let's say this is the dev team. From the point, okay, developers are ready with the code. Okay, then developers will release or share this. Means, okay, it's a development is completed, testing is completed. Now they have shared this code to DevOps team, right? From the point of developer ready with the code to the point of DevOps team receiving the application, this entire process automated, right? There was so much process here, the build process, the automation of testing process, right? Releasing it to lower environments, then release it to means from the point of developer making the code to the point of developer deploying it to production, means from the point of code reaching the production table, the entire process is automated, which is called DevOps, right? So who are eligible to learn DevOps? Anyone, everyone who want to automate this process can become a DevOps engineer. Let's say you are a developer, right? You still want to work as a developer only. You have passion for development. Still, you need to learn DevOps because you need to understand this process, right? You are containerizing it. Means the way of handing over your application also changed. Unlike earlier, you can't share the artifact directly. You can containerize it and share it. So you need to learn DevOps even though you are a developer. Let's suppose you are a tester. Again, for the same reason, your test cases, once you develop the test cases, they are going to be executed through automation. So even you need to know the DevOps strategy because you're working on the strategy. And anyone who are interested in the process of automation after the code is developed till it reaches the production table. If you are interested in the automation process, yes, you can learn DevOps. Or else let's say, okay, you are a developer for 15 years. Now you want to just work as a work as a DevOps engineer. You want to work in that process of automation. Yes, even you can learn DevOps. Like if you want to switch your career from developer to DevOps engineer, yes, you can learn DevOps. Let's say you want to switch your career. Testers, you want to switch your career. Or anyone in IT, you might be a DB, an admin, an ops guy, or a middleware person. Whoever, if you want to switch to DevOps, yes, that's possible. You have to learn this process of automation. So I would say anyone in IT should learn this process because of these advantages or the drawbacks it was overcoming, the gap between the teams, the faster deployments, and the third one is the complete process of automation, right? And also there is one more I'll talk about. So, so because everyone in IT should learn this because of the advantages. Let's say a new feature is developed. Unlike in the traditional approach, end users need not wait for 6 months for the feature to get released. The new feature will be released as soon as it is developed. In an overnight, it can be. Facebook is the best example for this. And as per the current trend, almost all the companies, including the small size companies, mid-scale companies, were implementing DevOps. In the coming years, definitely every company will step into this. The strongest will with this skill set will survive in the market. So it's a right time to invest your time and effort and learn such technologies and tools.
Preeti,
Yep.
may I have a question regarding the number of vacancies in comparison of development team? There are a lot of uh, developers are working. Now, for the aspect of DevOps, only a single DevOps engineer can perform because the all the things if are automated, then no need to the other persons. So, may I know about the number of vacancies in a company?
Yeah. See, like for every development team, or else let's say there is a project. Okay, for every project, there'll be development team, there'll be testing team, and so on, right? Similarly,
Yeah.
there will be a DevOps team. DevOps team initially to design this pipeline. Actually, I thought of discussing this a little later, but anyway, we got this question. Let me go ahead. This process of automation is called CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery pipeline. Initially, to set up this, definitely more people are needed. Like again, 5 to 6 DevOps engineers are needed, right? But
Okay.
once the pipeline is created and it is stabilized, then 1 or 2 people are enough to monitor. But this, the DevOps pipeline also would go through a lot of changes as per the requirement. So you need DevOps engineers. So there is nothing like less DevOps engineers, but once it is streamlined and the application, the pipelines are stable, then you may need less people. But until then, you need a DevOps team. So obviously you will be having opportunities because this pipeline keep on undergoing changes. Again, this pipeline will be created via pipeline as a code where you will write a Jenkins file through different tools and all. So DevOps team is definitely needed, and the task of DevOps is not just working with CI/CD. DevOps team will have knowledge on different skill set. Like they would be working on containerizing the application. They would be working on setting up the infrastructure with a Terraform. They would be working configuring the infrastructure and taking care of the deployments. Obviously, multiple people are needed. Unless it is thoroughly stabilized, there were no more changes needed, then one person is enough. But there will be a lot of activities happening with the DevOps team. So all of this have to be taken care by. Okay, let's say DevOps team have created some infra. Tomorrow, they may need new infra, they may need some modifications to the infra. Again, DevOps person is needed, right? So obviously, team is needed. Like I said, if it is completely done, stabilized, there were no more changes needed, then only 1 or 2 people. So as long as development is happening, changes they need, you need a DevOps team. This is
Okay.
one way. This is one side. Okay. Another side is there are companies or projects where there'll be a DevOps team. Like means there'll be this DevOps team who will create the infra, who will create the pipelines, who will work on the infra. This is called DevOps. And there'll be also a team like DevOps support team. Right? DevOps support means, yes, developers have created the infra, have created the pipelines and all. There might be continuous issues that might be popping up. right? To create the infra means let's imagine them like a creators, or let's say development team. Okay, this is support team. Again, in DevOps also you have different things. Development team, support. Development team in the sense who will create the infra, who will create the pipelines, who will configure Ansible to deployments or and so on. Support team is if any issues comes in, they'll fix it. Means depending on the workload, if you have huge workload, there might be again two categories in this. Who will just work on fixing the issues, who will work on creating them from the scratch. Got it? This is another side of a DevOps. You have different strategies implemented in different companies, different projects as per the requirement. Or else I have seen another strategy also. There are companies, maybe a small company or a startup company, where there'll be different developer teams. Okay, developer team, let's say, okay, let me tell you as a project 1, project 2, so different teams of developers will be there. But for all of them, there'll be a single DevOps team who will work for the 3 projects, who will work for all the 3 projects, who will provide support for all the 3 projects. Means here developers are creating their own pipelines. Here this DevOps team will support them. It depends. So the whole point is, let's say you are implementing DevOps, means you might be a developer, tester, or you might be like whoever working in that project should learn the entire DevOps strategy. Because like I told you, in some companies, developers will be asked to create their own pipelines. Depends if it is a small company, startup, so on. Or else if it's a big company, there might be a separate team who will create it. But you might be working as DevOps support, means you have to work on fixing them. So to suit for all these needs, definitely everyone have to learn DevOps. You might be put into any other project, or you might be switching your company. So that's the whole thing.
Okay,
Got
thank
it?
you. One more question regarding certification. Is there any single certificate for the DevOps or a different?
There is no single certification for DevOps. Actually, there is one, but that's not having much weightage or much practical. It's not much practical. Actually,
Okay,
for DevOps, if you want to take up certifications, you have to take up certifications on individual tools like Kubernetes certification, Terraform certification, Ansible certification, and so on.
okay, thank you.
Depending on your role, depending on your requirement, you can choose the areas of your choice and pick up the certification.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So let's go back and general questions like the role, the responsibilities and all, we'll talk about it. Let me come back to the 4th point of why DevOps came in. Um, let me just walk you through this. See, I believe you all know the waterfall methodology, right? Like if you look into software development lifecycle. For anyone new here, software development lifecycle is nothing but sequence of activities, sequence of stages involved in developing an application. Like it starts with gathering the requirement, analysis, design, coding, testing, delivery. Means these are the different phases an application go through, and they all go through in a sequence. Right? Let's suppose you are in coding. It's not possible to go back to design. It all just goes one after the other. Right? This is called a waterfall model, which served the industry for decades. But it has got challenges. Both dev team and ops team face challenges because of this waterfall model. Can anyone tell me the challenges? What are the problems, drawbacks? This model is very slow. Means, okay, you are working on coding. It would go for testing after 6 months. Meanwhile, developers will be working on other new features. Then testers test the old code and come with the bugs in the old code. Working on new code, then fixing the bugs in the old code will give a lot of stress and pressure to developers. That's one challenge. And it's not flexible. Let's say you are in coding. Let's suppose then client came with new requirements. That's not possible here. There's no going back. That's why it's called waterfall model. If you are in coding, you can't go back and take new requirements or new challenges, right? It's not flexible enough. It doesn't work in reality. Because today almost every client comes with a new requirements, new modifications. If we can't accommodate them, it doesn't work in reality. So it's not flexible. Also, complete software will be delivered all at once. Let's suppose you got the requirements in 2024. These will be freezed and you will deliver the application on 2026. Freezer means you are not accommodating new changes, new modifications in between. You can't take up any new things in between. Client wouldn't need this application anymore because it's a customer facing world. Business changes rapidly. You should be able to accommodate new requirements and deliver it. So these are all some of the challenges faced by this methodology. See here, the objective is not to teach you waterfall methodology because that's not the focus. The focus is to understand why DevOps came in, right? So these are all some of the challenges faced by dev team. Similarly, ops teams also face the challenges. Like because this is a slow model, they have to maintain the servers, uptime of the servers. Maintaining uptime of the servers for longer duration is a challenge, right? Manually, here I'm talking about everything manual. Also, poor configuration management. Configuration management is again a separate concept, but let me tell you, configuration management is nothing but, let's say you need to have a detailed history of your infra. Let's say you have 50 servers. What is on server 1? What is the history? What are the details of the activities happened? You need to have that control over the infra. That's not possible because everything is manual, no proper details, proper history of the infrastructure. Poor monitoring. There is no proper monitoring of the infra. Let's say you have 100 servers, right? You have to check on like what is happening on which server. You have to monitor the server status and all. Even that's not possible because they were monitoring manually. Health of the application, status of the servers, all of them, all of this monitoring is manual, which is a challenge. So these are all some of the challenges posed by this waterfall methodology. So to overcome this, there came another methodology called Agile methodology. But Agile was successful only to this extent. Like it can overcome the drawbacks of dev team, but it cannot overcome the drawbacks of ops teams were still there. Means it was successful to a certain extent. But we need a methodology, right, which can overcome all the challenges. That's where DevOps came in. Before we talk about it, let me talk about how Agile have solved dev challenges, right? In Agile methodology, actually, Agile implements something like continuous development, continuous testing, which led to overcome the challenges of developers. Means what is meant by that again? Let me give you some understanding on this. Let's say this is week 1. On week 1, I mean, here code will be developed in bits and parts. A chunk of code A is developed. On week 2, this chunk of code A would be going for testing. Right? This would be coding here and testing. Right? Again on week 2, so on week 2, developers are not sitting idle. They will develop another chunk of code. On week 3, again this A and B will be combined and tested. Isn't it? Any new changes should be merged into the system and tested. Then only it makes a complete process. So if you see any particular week, both development and testing are happening parallelly, iteratively, or continuously. This is called continuous development, continuous testing, and every new changes are merged into the system and tested, which is called continuous integration. That is a very brief explanation of continuous development, continuous testing, and continuous integration. We'll elaborate it much more as we progress and as we go into the respective topic. So because of this, every week code is happening, like every week or every alternative week, there will be deliveries or release. Means new features are released every week. Code is always stable and available for deployment, right? And also, because coding and testing are happening iteratively, continuously, bug fixing became faster. Right? See, let's say if this week developed code is tested next week, testing becomes faster rather than testing it after 6 months, because like they have developed it long back, fixing it becomes a challenge, right? So because of these things, it could overcome challenges of dev team, but challenges of ops team are still there. That's where DevOps came in, means to overcome the challenges of traditional methodologies. DevOps came in. Got it, everyone? Understood? These are the reasons why DevOps came in. So now, okay, DevOps came into picture to overcome the challenges. Like, what exactly is DevOps? If you talk about DevOps, continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, along with the continuous deployment and continuous monitoring is nothing but DevOps, right? This is called DevOps. Also, like if you want to compare it with the traditional methodologies, let's take about SDLC methodology. If you want to compare, yes, there'll be development. After development, only testing begins. After testing, there'll be deployment and then monitoring the application. Each goes one after the other, right? Whereas with Agile, testing and development are going hand in hand. So we can say continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration. Then again, deployment is manual, like after the complete application is developed, it would be deployed and monitored, right? Then came DevOps, where it is continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Means any feature developed will be deployed immediately. So continuous deployment and continuous monitoring. Everything is automated. The term continuous is important because it is iterative, it's going parallelly. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions? This is the difference between the three teams. And also, let me differentiate with respect to the teams. Like this is the difference between the strategies. Let me differentiate with respect to the teams. Like in SDLC, there were three major teams. Of course, many teams will be there. But let's say, okay, dev team, QA team, ops team. They were working in silos. Each team doesn't understand the challenges of others. Each team doesn't understand the requirements of others. They're working in silos, in separation, right? So that's how it is. There was a gap. Because of continuous development and testing in Agile, these two teams were brought together and we can call them as dev team. Brought together, it doesn't mean that tester is going to write the code, okay, or else developer is going to write the test cases. No, they are working with the proper collaboration, proper communication, continuous communication will be there. They each knows challenges and drawbacks of others, right? And still ops team is left in isolation. Then with the DevOps, even these two teams were brought together, means proper collaboration. You need to continuously interact with development team, testing team, right? Proper collaboration, continuous communication is there because developers are writing the code immediately. Should be automated through testing. Testers should be ready with their test cases and then it's integrated and deployed. So for this process to be streamlined, for this CI/CD to work, this is nothing but CI/CD pipeline. Right? These teams should be continuously communicating. But it doesn't mean that a DevOps person will go and write the code. No, there's a separate team for it. Are we clear? And still any questions or confusions? Because this question is the most frequent question. Everyone will be asking as many number of times we answer. Still people will be having these queries. Should DevOps person write the code? There is a separate development team. They will write the code. But once code is ready, once test cases are ready with the test cases, you should know how to automate the entire process without manual intervention, but that's called DevOps. Any queries? So this is what is DevOps, and that's a differentiation between them. Different methodologies. So basically what is DevOps? DevOps is a methodology, a strategy, or a process, right? It's not a tool or it's not a language or it's not some scripting language or automation. It's a methodology. It's actually a process, right? It will take some time to implement this. We can't say, okay, we are implementing DevOps in an overnight because like I said, it's not a tool. It's not some programming language or it's not some script to get it implemented in a day or two. It takes some time. It's a continuous process. Means you can't say, okay, we have implemented DevOps and it is done. It's a continuous process of improvement and implementation. Like I told you, right, CI/CD pipeline is there, but still there might be some modifications needed. There might be some new changes required in the pipeline. It's a continuous process of improvement and implementation so that you will see the effective results. Clients, customers will receive the application with the faster deployments, with the more accuracy. And as we progress, yes, once the pipeline is streamlined, you will need less people. So the strongest will, with the skill set, will survive in the market. Even everything is going to be automated these days. So the strongest will, with the strongest with the skill set will survive in the market, in any technology. And whenever we talk about DevOps, the huge tool stack comes into the mind, right? Again, DevOps team should be wise enough to pick up which tool to use, why to pick up the tool and all. It's not just blindly, it's a DevOps, you implement all the tools. Which tools should be used, at what level, to what extent. All of this decision making comes with a DevOps team or DevOps lead will do this. So let me proceed with the next part. See, this is all what we discussed, drawbacks of waterfall methodology, agile methodology and all. This is like a notes for you. This will be shared across so that you can go through it for your reference. So DevOps is now continuous development, continuous testing, and the continuous process of improvement and implementation. And the differences between the teams, like I explained, design, coding, testing, deployment, but in Agile, coding, testing were parallel. Deployment was still after the complete application, but with DevOps, even this is like continuous. And the roles and responsibilities, like as a DevOps person, you might be working at any point in the pipeline, like at any stage you might be working at. And also you would be responsible in creating the infra, in managing the infra, in making the deployments possible, high availability of them and all. These are the roles and responsibilities of a DevOps engineer in brief. Once we start the hands-on, whatever scenarios we are executing, these are all your roles and responsibilities. You'll get a more visibility, clarity once we progress. So what are the skills and tools a DevOps engineer should learn? So let's look into this. I believe I have picked up the bit older one. Just a second. Give me a second, please. Meanwhile, any questions you have, you can go ahead.
How much coding knowledge we require for ops team to become a DevOps engineer?
Coding knowledge is not required. Okay, when you say coding, coding is different. Okay, developers do that. That's a different. Here, for certain tools like Ansible, Terraform, we write Terraform code, we write Ansible configurations, we write a Kubernetes manifest files, but that's not that coding. Okay, because we have the templates, we have the formats. Like, let's say Kubernetes manifest file. You have the manifest file already. You have to understand it and replace them with your own values. That cannot be called as coding. People often get confused with the, okay, should I write a Kubernetes code, or that cannot be called as a coding. So DevOps team doesn't need to learn coding.
But nowadays, companies are requesting to learn Python or Golang.
Python or shell script, these are for automation. Certain times, if you don't need to use a tool, there you may use these scripting languages to automate it. That's the reason for learning, but that's not for development. Again, it's not that every project it is using it. I haven't used it till now for automation. I haven't used Python or shell script for automation. Though I know shell scripting, though I have used shell scripting to a minor part, but that's not the focus in our projects till now. So there are wide range of projects. There might be some projects which require that, but if you are a DevOps person, it's not mandatory you should know it. It's an option. Let's say you have previous development experience, you know Python, you are a DevOps engineer, there is a role where DevOps with Python is needed, then it might be for you. But it's not the cases that every DevOps role needs Python.
Okay, thank you.
So let's look into the tools we are going to learn. As a version control system, we are going to learn Git, Maven, Jenkins, Docker, Ansible and Terraform, both we will learn. Kubernetes, Docker Swarm, both of them will learn. Prometheus, Grafana, also certain AWS service which are needed for DevOps. This is just a brief list. Here I would like to point you something. For every category, like if you look into version control systems, what is a version control system, their purpose, their architecture, everything we learn. But in this category, there are many other tools like SVN, TFS, and so on. For every category, there are different tools. Master one tool, become expertise on one tool, that is enough. Because if you master Git, you can work with SVN, TFS, and other tools very easily. Right? So focus and master one tool. Here I have added the ones which have great demand in the market. So you have chances of like more projects using them. So you have chance of getting into it. But if you have to work on other tool, they are self-explanatory. If you know Git, SVN, TFS are self-explanatory. So master one tool under the category. So these are the tools we will be learning. We'll be focusing on getting advanced into each tool, including the architecture of each. First, we'll learn what is version control system, what is Git, why you need to use it, then the hands-on on it from basics till advanced concepts, then go and implement, add it in the CI/CD. So we will be learning each tool from various perspectives so that you could become a complete DevOps engineer, right? So these are the topics covered. Again, you can go through the detailed course content in the website. A lot of changes happened in the course content through the experience as I progress, as I'm finding a new tools and strategies implemented, they were added to the course content. So a lot of changes happened over there. I'll talk about it towards the end. So yeah. And also here, to implement certain tools and all, we need to have Linux knowledge. So Linux basics are covered in the course, which are needed for a DevOps engineer to whatever extent we need, like working with the file system, navigate through the files and folders, those basics, whichever we need, or shell scripting basics will be covered in the course. So if you are completely newbie also, you don't need to worry. We'll be taking care of this.
How much time will it take me total to complete the course?
Complete course is for 2 months. It is well designed and structured. I'll show you the structure of it. And
Okay.
yeah, going through it will take 2 months for the course.
Or daily basis classes or it's a weekly classes?
Classes will be from Monday to Friday, every day at the same time, 6 to 7:30, 1.5 hours.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any queries here in this page?
Recorded
ma'am.
videos are you going to share with us, ma'am?
Every day recordings will be shared. Okay, after the session is done in some time, like in an hour or two, the recording will be shared for you to go through and practice. Like I said, practice is mandatory. Hands-on is mandatory. This is the CI/CD pipeline I'm going to talk about. But before going into the CI/CD, let me just show you something like how to go through the course. Here, all the lab setup, like how to install Git, everything will be teaching you, right? How to install Git, how to install Docker, everything. And if you go to the website, right, here you have a detailed course content if you go to the syllabus. And the major part of it is, these are the recent changes happened. Let me tell you, let me give you some background here. In the previous batches, like I'm conducting DevOps training from 2017. I have gone through a lot of changes in the course content. I have gone through different changes in the strategies in the real time as well. So my observation and through the experience, this course is designed, right? And also through the experience, how how students can grasp. With that experience, we were continuously working on modifying the course content and the way we were training the candidates. Now we came up with a new strategy from last 2 months. We were working on this, team is working on this, and we have built a portal like this, the lab exercises. If you go here, right, the how you have to prepare is like, okay, today class is done. After this class, you will be shared with the recording. Go through the recording, and let's say we'll start with Git, right? Go here with the lab assignments. Here you have all the topics covered in the day one, right? Exactly the topic name, the exact command, so that you don't need to struggle. Earlier, we were sharing this through a documents in the drive. right? Apart from this, we thought if we could provide a portal with more clarity and visibility to make hands-on easy for users, for students. Otherwise, the students, if they feel difficult to do the hands-on because of they were stuck up and all, it might be difficult. So we came with the portal with all the solutions, the troubleshoot tricks and all, right? So here are the commands, whatever use in that particular day. Okay, this is for that particular day. Again, an additional assignments on each topic. Every day it was covered. And we were still working on it to make the hands-on easy for you. Means to support your hands-on more, right? So that you can immediately after the class, you can do the hands-on and you can get ready for the next class. Because without hands-on, just listening and listening, you may not make you an expertise. Hands-on is mandatory to gain grip over the subject. So this is all we are coming from our end to make the hands-on easy for you, to make the hands-on more convenient for you. Right. Also, the lab setup will be helping with you. The lab setup will be on your own machine, which you can use it at your own pace. Apart from this, you also had a quiz on that particular day. Whatever topics we have covered on day one, you have a quiz so that you can go through it. This is for registering the concepts. You may be thinking we will not have multiple questions anywhere. Why do we need to go through? This is for you to register the concepts well. Take a simple test so that check your understanding, check how much you registered, how much you grasped for the day. So this goes on for every tool. As of now, this goes on for every tool. Here are again additional assignments. Apart from that, see here are the additional assignments you have, right? How to go through. So,
Oh, what about the fee structure?
sorry, some background. Yeah, tell me. The fee structure and all,
yeah.
you can contact on this number. Okay, you can ping this number. He is Mr. Raj. He'll be taking care of all the fee details, the more course details, structure. If you have any questions, you can talk to him.
Okay. Thank you.
And there is a question from Tushar. Any projects do we cover? Yes, Tushar. We will be covering the CI/CD pipeline on multiple applications, which is nothing but a project. I'll come to that part also. Okay, I'm talking about how do you do the hands-on. Apart from this, you will get a Google Drive where you have a documented the complete notes of the day, right? You will also get that. This is for your hands-on particularly because hands-on is very, very important. Some of you might be into DevOps or might have some knowledge in DevOps. You might have heard about it, right? Lot of hands-on, lot of scenarios will be there in DevOps. As much as you do hands-on, you gain the expertise in the subject. If you gain the expertise in the subject, you'll have demand in the market. You can gain credibility in the market. You can showcase your resume better, right? So that's the idea, to switch your career, to clear your interviews, to work in the projects independently, confidently. These are the main agendas of the course, right? So these are all the things we are providing from our end.
Is it GitHub Actions also will cover? Or?
GitHub will be covered. GitHub Actions will not be covered. Jenkins will be covered here. Like I told you, right? GitHub Actions comes under this category, continuous integration. There were so many tools under each category, right? You don't need to learn all of that. If you know one tool in each category, you can easily work on any others. Like if you know Jenkins, it will be easy for you to understand GitHub Actions also. But Jenkins is very widely used than any others. We were learning Jenkins here. The advantages of Jenkins, how much percentage it was used in the market, all of that details also I'll show you as we go with each tool.
But nowadays everyone going to GitHub Actions, I think.
No, that's what. This statement is not correct. Not that everyone is going into. You might have come across those projects, that's all. Jenkins is very widely used. You get the latest graph stats from the Google Trends and you can see the graphs there. In the Google Trends, anyone, you can go there and check out on Jenkins and different continuous integration tools. The reason also, I'll tell you once we go to that part, why Jenkins is widely used than any other. Okay, so these are the tools and this is the CI/CD pipeline I'm talking about from the beginning, right? Let me just give again a high level picture of what is this. See here, this diagram, developers are writing the code and placing the code in Git. Git is a version control system. So once developers place the code here, this code will be pulled and it goes through continuous builds. What is meant by build and all we'll discuss, but understand build is nothing but where you will get a deployable artifact from the code. You build the code and you get a deployable artifact. So that is happening through Maven. There are again different build automation tools like Ant, Gradle, Maven, and so on. We are using Maven here. So it will build. And then all of this happening through Jenkins, if you see. Jenkins is like a continuous integration tool. It's like a orchestrator. Means it is the one which help you integrate this in the pipeline. In a music band, you see, right? An orchestrator will tell which instrument should be played at what level. Same is the case with the Jenkins. It's like a manager. It will orchestrate. It will help you integrate the tools. So once builds are happened, it would be deployed and tested using some Selenium test case or UFT, whatever it is. Test cases will be executed here through automation. Once it is done, it deployed through Docker containerized and for high availability deployed in Kubernetes cluster. The infrastructure may be provisioned by Terraform and configured by Ansible. What is meant by this provision by Terraform, configured by Ansible, containerized through Docker, right? These queries will be answered as we progress. Because it's not something which can be clarified in a one day in a session, right? What is containerization will take again an hour. But just understand, these are the different tools and these are the tools working in integration with one another. So what is our agenda? How do we learn it? Let me give you an idea. First, we will learn Git. We will master it. We will learn from basics. What is Git? Why we should use Git? Who uses it? What are the perspectives? DevOps teams should learn it. What are the perspective? Developers should learn it. We will learn this thoroughly. Once you master it, come back and implement in the pipeline. So create the first stage which will pull the code from Git. Then go back, learn Maven to whatever extent a DevOps person should know. We will learn Maven that much completely and come back and add it in the pipeline. So like this, we'll zoom into each section, we'll master each section, come back and implement it in the pipeline, right? Let's say Docker again. Learn Docker from basics till advanced concepts as a separate tool. Come back and add it to the pipeline, create this stage. That's how we build this pipeline step by step. It will take some time. It will not be completed. Pipeline cannot be completed in a day or two. It will take some time, maybe 1 to 1.5 months in the course, right? So that's how we build up this pipeline, learning each tool and mastering each tool. And this pipeline will be built on two separate applications in the course. Like we'll be building it on a monolithic application, means a simple Java application. We'll be also building this pipeline on a microservice application. These days, microservice applications are more implemented. All the applications are moving into microservice architecture. So we'll be also learning this part. So we'll be implementing this pipeline on two different applications. And so you will learn how this pipeline is created and implemented end to end, from developer writing a code till it goes to production table until it is being monitored. And also, so we'll be implementing in multiple applications. And in DevOps particularly, if you know how to implement it on one application, you can implement easily on any applications. Because we are least bothered whether it is Java application or Python application or .NET application or whatever it is. Am I making sense? It's a process. Whether it is .NET or whether it is Java, the process, the integration, everything is same. We have nothing to do with the DevOps team doesn't have to do anything whether it is a Java application or .NET application. Am I making sense? Only this build part may differ. If it is .NET, they might be using something called Microsoft Build Engine, different build tool. But build tool is a developer tool. You have nothing to do with it. They will provide the commands what they have to be integrated in this stage. But DevOps team will have an idea. Okay, there'll be a build tool which will build it. We have to integrate it. For that, you don't need to learn .NET. To build the .NET application, you don't need to learn .NET. Am I making sense? Because yeah, these are the majority of the questions we receive. Which application are we covering? I don't know .NET. Can I build pipeline for .NET application? Or I don't know Python. Can I build a CI/CD pipeline for Python applications and so on? So I think I'm making these things clear for you all. So even we are covering 2 applications here, the CI/CD. Also, if I can provide you, like we'll be providing other applications and additional applications for you to go through, or for you to implement the CI/CD pipeline from your end. This will help you to understand the project completely with the real scenarios, right? And the other thing is, again, DevOps is a methodology, it's a process, right? It's irrespective of the technology of your application, it's irrespective where you are implementing. Means this DevOps pipelines can be implemented on on-premise servers, or else it might be implemented on AWS cloud, or it might be implemented on GCP cloud, or it could be implemented on Azure cloud as well. Right, so here we'll be learning in this course, the DevOps pipelines we are learning. If you learn the DevOps in this course, you could be implementing on any platform. For as an example, we are covering it like irrespective of the cloud, and also I'll be showing you how to use some cloud services to do it. Similar services are there on GCP, on Azure as well. If you get an understanding how to implement on AWS, services would be similar. A little difference might be there, but you can work on any cloud. Again, these are the frequent questions. Should I learn AWS DevOps as Azure DevOps? Kind of. It is all same. If you know DevOps on one cloud, you should be able to implement on any cloud. That's what companies are looking at. When we sit in the interview panel, we look at the candidates who are flexible, who can, let's say you know AWS. You should be able to work on GCP tomorrow with the given little effort and time. You should be able to pick it up, because those are all similar. Companies are looking for people who are flexible enough, who can grasp the new technologies, because these are not permanent. DevOps is like it's a huge tool stack. Today you are having these tools, tomorrow new tool might be coming up. Every day or like it's very frequent that new tools, new technologies, new clouds are coming up. We can't see people glued to some technology. There should be flexibility. They should be like flexible enough to grasp new technologies and move on. That's what companies are looking for people. So you don't need to master all the clouds. You don't need to master all version control systems. You become expertise on one tool that will help your career throughout, because you'll never know to which project you will be moved to which company you will move to, what tools and technologies they were using there. Learn thoroughly. Whatever you are learning, you should learn thoroughly. That's a major part. Don't learn Git a little bit, don't learn, then go on SV and learn it little bit, learn AWS little bit, then Azure little bit. No, you master one tool thoroughly. That should be the strategy to win the market. So this is the CI/CD pipeline. This is just a diagrammatic representation. To build it, multiple DevOps people will be working, like 5 to 6 people in a DevOps team will be working on it to build the CI/CD pipeline, right? Which tool to be used, again, you need to understand the pipeline, the requirement, the strategy in choosing the tool, right? Once this pipeline is built, everything will be automated without manual intervention. Means, but the whole point is, okay, developer write the code and put it on GitHub. It should trigger the pipeline automatically. It should pull the code, build it, test it, deploy it, and deploy to first lower environments, then to the higher environments. And once it reaches a production table, monitor it continuously, send the feedback to the respective teams. That's a whole CI/CD pipeline. It could be on AWS or Azure or on-prem, wherever, whatever platform, whatever technologies, whatever application it is. Any queries? Are we clear?
Yeah, 2 months will be sufficient, or we can extend more time if something delays.
Like this course is structured and designed, right? This is the course content we are covering with a proper analysis and proper design, how students will grasp it. So every day, like whatever, you will get a schedule on whatever we are covering on every day. If you see there, you can see all the topics covered. If there is some extension, like, yeah, we may extend a day or two, kind of, depending on your understanding as you progress, depending on the queries, that will be always there, extending, or that would be always there. But that's the streamlined course content. It's not that we were just giving a tentative time and then it may extend to another 2 months, kind of. And there is a question from Kamran Ramjan, Tomcat, SonarCube, Nexus. Are we going to teach these tools? Okay. SonarCube is for code coverage analysis. Code coverage analysis is just a used as a plugin in the build automation tool. We can use it. When we are covering Maven, you will get an idea of how to integrate different code coverage tools, code analysis tools. Separate as a separate tool, it will not be covered, because like I said, right, this build automation tool, code coverage tools, these are developer tools, not a DevOps tools. But when developer is using this tool, how to integrate this pipeline? Yes, that idea you will get. Tomcat will be covered, but that's again not a topic of DevOps, but we get a requirement to deploy our application. So Tomcat, how to deploy in Tomcat and all will be covered. And then Nexus. Nexus is an artifact tree, okay, where artifacts can be stored, and it's only artifacts of like your POM files, WAR files, all of these artifacts can be stored. Here in this course, I'm covering JFrog for your artifact tree. JFrog, okay, where the artifacts can be stored along with the container artifacts also can be stored here. Means, yes, the WAR files, JAR files can be stored. Even the container artifacts, like container images, can be stored in JFrog. So JFrog is covered as artifact tree here. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes, yes.
Praveen, the course is structured and designed in such a way that the course will be understood by everyone from beginners. Like I told you, right, from beginners, it will be going from beginners to experience level. Means in every topic, from the basics, we'll cover the real scenarios so that everyone will follow. That's the agenda of the course. It is covering in 2 months doesn't mean that we'll hurry up. See, if you know how to teach it, like what is required, what is not required, and to what extent, in what way you should teach, definitely this is possible. And I do have that experience. What to teach, how students can understand this. I have expertise in this, how to teach. So you don't need to worry about the time frame. Everything will be dealt that so that students will benefit from the course. How about resume building and interviews? Karthik, yes, we'll help in resume building and how you can handle the interviews. In every topic, we'll be covering interview questions. Like as per the, when a scenario comes in, I'll be helping you from the interview perspective, what interview questions you may expect here, how to cover them and all. So that, yeah, you, like I told you in the beginning, if you expertise this course, if you master this course, if you learn this course thoroughly, you can answer the interview questions, clear the interviews very easily. That is for sure, because from the past records, I'm telling you this. I have students who have selected, who have got multiple offers. So yes, this is interview perspective.
One question, once we complete this course, how much experience can we put in our resume as an experienced person?
Can you please come again? Sorry, I lost you.
Yeah, once we complete this training, how much experience can we put in our resume as an experienced person?
Okay, you can put up to 3 to 4 years minimum. Okay, and if you could master it well, see, I'm covering this on 2 applications, 2 CI/CD pipelines, right? If you can go beyond the course, and if you can like you can do more homework from your end and deep dive into the things beyond the course content, you can claim more experience also. See, we have the clear planned structured course content with the micro schedules for each class, how students can understand, and we are providing lot of sources from our end, how students should grasp it and how students should benefit out of it. And what we need from you is your time and dedication. Like I said, you need to do hands-on every day. And we'll be having a separate WhatsApp group for hands-on. Okay, a separate, now there is a general group, right? You'll be moved to registered students will be moved to separate WhatsApp group where you can post your hands-on queries and where we'll be coming and helping those queries so that you will finish your hands-on. So that's how every day hands-on should be done. So we need your effort and time and dedication. If you put these three things in the course, definitely you can clear your interviews, you can switch your careers, you can reach your goals. And this training will help you understand end-to-end CI/CD pipeline design, right? Also the infrastructure provisioning, and also we'll be concentrating on Kubernetes more. From my personal experience, as I have got a good experience in Kubernetes will be covered into depth, and real-time scenarios with the practical examples will be covered. Also the DevOps interviews and challenges, you can go through them confidently. Any more queries from your end? And someone is asking about MLOps. MLOps is about machine learning operations. And it's about machine learning application that deploys to the environment. Again, there will be implementing DevOps. You should know this DevOps strategies, DevOps content, DevOps topics to implement DevOps on your machine language application. Both are deployment strategies. It's about implementing it in your machine language. So basically, you should know DevOps to implement it on any application. Okay, someone is asking about SRE. SRE means Site Reliability Engineering, right? This is nothing but, see, DevOps focus on improving your delivery, deployment, and operations, right? SRE focuses on, it's like more on observability part, means focuses on stability of the tools and how it was going through the SLOs, SLAs, all of that would be a point for SRE, more of observability part. Scalability, observability, resilience of the application, the robustness and all. Whereas DevOps focus on collaborative approach with the different teams, how you can improvise the development and deployment strategies. That's a focus of DevOps. Both are two different teams, Mahesh. Okay, course content, definitely. Thanks for reminding Nagasai. Yes, let me go you through the course content. Yeah, here is the course content, like introduction to DevOps, why DevOps came in, what is DevOps, what are the different tools, right? This is what we were talking about today. And then you have Linux basics, version control system, build automation tool Maven, continuous integration tool Jenkins, containerization with Docker, Kubernetes, and configuration management with Ansible, EKS. See, here on Kubernetes particularly, if you see, we are covering Kubernetes as an on-prem Kubernetes cluster as well as on cloud, which is EKS. EKS is a paid service. Even I am covering this, right? So you will definitely have edge over others if you learn this EKS part. So Ansible, Prometheus, infrastructure as a code, and certain DevOps, AWS services for DevOps like code pipeline, code build, code deploy, code commit, all of this we covered. Actually, few more are there. Those topics were not added, like JFrog. We'll update this page. Few more things should be added, like a JFrog, and a few topics were covered in each tool. We'll update it very soon. But yeah, here is the most detailed content. Tomorrow we'll be starting with version control system Git. This is the topic we'll be covering, we'll be starting tomorrow. Like first, what is version control system? What are the types of it, differences in it? Then what is Git, Git architecture, Git installation, Then Git from basics till advanced concepts and the relevant interview questions for every tool. Actually, all of this will be locked and will be available for registered candidates. We have released it and made it available for everyone. As it's a day one, you can get visibility of them. These will be locked actually and visible only for registered candidates. So yeah, this is how we'll go through. And the respective assignments and all you have. But after Git, we'll be going to the Linux stuff. And then we'll be starting with the automation tool and Jenkins and so on. Yes, Argo CD will be covered, Ramjan. Argo CD also, I don't think they have added it here. I'll ask the team to add here. Argo CD will be covered, which implements GitOps principles. What is GitOps? We'll see. GitOps is having a lot of demand in the market. So GitOps with Argo CD will be covered. Yes, QA will definitely benefit out of it, Rahul. Are you there in the class from the beginning, Rahul? Because in the beginning, I have covered why QA should learn. Everyone, developers or QA engineers or DBA, everyone, whoever working in the projects which implement DevOps strategy should learn it. Because the way of testing got changed, the way of deploy, the way of how the applications are handed over to ops teams have changed. So definitely everyone should learn, should learn DevOps and will benefit of the course. If you still want to remain as QA engineer also, you should learn DevOps. Suppose you want to switch your career from QA to DevOps. Definitely you have to learn this, and yeah, it will benefit you because you know the traditional strategies, how to build automation test cases. Now you will learn how to implement in the automation process of DevOps. Definitely you will be benefiting out of this course as a QA engineer. That will add a weightage to your resume. You are a QA engineer till now, then you are going to, like, you know how to automate it and implement it in the DevOps strategies. That will be helpful. Mahesh, regarding the fee structure, regarding the fee, any details, you can contact Mr. Raj on this number.
After taking this course, can we accessible to the self-learning video logins?
Like everyday class recordings will be provided, right? Those recordings will be provided, will be available for you even after the course. Class recordings will be available with you. You will be having access to them even after the course. Any more queries?
Ma'am, time will remain same.
Sorry?
The time will remain same in the morning only.
It will be remaining same, 6 to 7:30 every day. Yes. GitHub Actions will not be covered, Tushar. Jenkins will be covered as a CI tool. Okay, there is a question from Sarthak. Recordings will be available on which platform for how long? Recordings will be available on YouTube platform, Sarthak, with private access. Means registered students can see those videos on the YouTube and they will be available for you for lifetime after the course. Recordings, the course material will be available for lifetime. And today also, I just want to share you a small quiz. Like every day you'll be shared with the quiz. Okay, today also I'm going to share it. Just please stay back. This is a simple quiz, okay, with introductory questions. And there might be some questions out of topic for sure for you to explore and answer. Okay, that's the idea of it. I'm launching the quiz. Please go through it. Yeah. Can you all see the quiz? Have you all got the quiz for the day? Bitbucket is similar to GitHub, Kalyan. In our course, we'll be covering Bitbucket. Sorry, in our course, we'll be covering GitHub. Bitbucket is similar to GitHub. And Chef is similar to Ansible, configuration management tool. We are covering Ansible in the category of configuration management tools. Any more queries? About the job support, please reach out on this number, Praveen. Any more queries? Which, whatever I can answer here, I'll go through them. Hope you all can see the quiz.
Yes.
Okay, there is another question regarding DevSecOps. Okay, DevSecOps, DevOps, SRE, these are all different methodologies. Okay, different strategies. Their focus is different. DevOps focus on the deployment, development strategies, the speed, efficiency of them. And SRE focus on observability. Observability like stability of the application, the robustness of the application, the SLOs, SLAs and all. DevSecOps focus on integrating security features like the risk of vulnerabilities, ensuring compliance and security. In the CI/CD pipelines itself, we can implement DevSecOps by implementing certain stages. Like let's suppose there is a code scan, code vulnerabilities, or if it is a container, Docker container scans will be there using certain tools like Snyk. They can be integrated in the pipeline as per the requirements of the projects. Those are not separate courses, but they can be integrated into the same DevOps pipeline. The focus is different. Hope that helps you. Abhijit, means in the same CI/CD pipeline, you could add another stage which could do a scan. That's nothing but DevOps, SecOps implementation.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks.
Any more unanswered or any unanswered questions? Because in the huge chart, we may be missing some of the queries. So if anything unanswered, you can repost them. Feel free to repost these queries or you can unmute and speak out. I believe you all got the quiz. Everyone, please go through the quiz. You'll be also getting the results back once I end the quiz. I'm seeing only 25% participation in the quiz. Everyone, can you log into your quiz and go through it? And if anything you want me to discuss in the quiz, any questions, you can let me know after completing it. For the access related to the material, the portal, you'll be getting access to that portal, assignment portal and all. You can reach out on this number you are seeing here for more details, access related things, and moving to a separate WhatsApp group, you can reach out on this number, please. Yeah, thanks. More people joined, like 48% have logged into the quiz. And I want to see majority, everyone, almost everyone. Can everyone please try to log into the quiz?
In this AWS also will cover or basic AWS?
AWS core topics, whatever I'm covering were here, you can also go through it. In AWS, we are covering from basic services like AWS, like EC2, S3, from those basic services till the managed paid service, EKS is also covered. So we can't label it as like basic AWS or advanced AWS. Here, I would say AWS is covered whatever needed for us as a DevOps engineer. From basics till advanced. Basic AWS services, advanced AWS service case is covered. If you want to concentrate only on AWS, that is a separate course. That's not DevOps course. Here it's a DevOps on AWS, right? EKS is covered. Along with this, these are all the AWS DevOps services. These are these are the ones: code build, code pipeline, code deploy, code commit, and so on. And IAM services, users, roles, VPC, EC2, S3, load balancers, EBS, ECR for a container registry service, container service, EKS. All of these AWS services are covered. And these are AWS DevOps services in particular, like AWS code pipeline, code deploy, code commit, code build. I can see more people logged in. It's 52% now participation in the quiz. Everyone, please try to log in. RDS is another service in AWS, Karthik. It's a database service in AWS, relational DB service. I'm going through the queries. Just give me a second. Portal access you will have for lifetime, Praveen. Portal access means the course content access, the recording access you'll have for lifetime. Yes, Sarthak, every day quiz will be there after the session. If we are running out of the time, you can also take the quiz from your end. You'll be having access to all the quiz portal. Okay, there's a question from Kamran. Suppose, ma'am, companies demand tools which we haven't studied in this batch, like you teach Jenkins, company as GitHub Actions, like you teach JFrog, company access, ask about Nexus, like you teach Prometheus, Grafana, company as about, then what to do? We will have another course demanding tools. Kamran, like I answered this query already, if you know JFrog, you can use Nexus easily. You can learn or use Nexus easily. You don't need to take up separate training for it because they're all similar tools. And the reason for covering JFrog is very widely used as an artifactory. Apart from JFrog, it's not JFrog actually in the particular category. I'm covering ECR as well, which also comes under container registry, right? Even Docker Hub is covered. And as an artifactory store, JFrog is covered. So yeah, that's one thing. And again, GitHub Actions. Like if you know Jenkins, with little effort, you can use GitHub Actions. Those are all similar tools under the category. So you don't need a separate training. If you know Prometheus, again, you can use that. You see, the reason for covering Prometheus is, again, it is very widely used, container centric, having a lot of demands, more widely used in DevOps projects. But yeah, like here and there, some of the projects might be using other tools. You don't need a separate course for them. You can self-learn those. Grafana will be covered. Rahul, Kibana will not be covered. Notifications, configuring notifications will not be covered because that needs a separate SMTP server or your own server needed there. That cannot be covered, triggering notice. But I'll show you how you can trigger the notifications. Even though you don't receive the notification, I can show you the configurations. Yes, this recording also will be available, Praveen, in some time. It will be shared across. Any more queries? See, the focus should be mastering the tools which have a great demand. Okay, if you focus on 10 tools under each category, you can master none of them, right? So the focus should be set first. Okay, you are mastering this part. If you see a counterpart of it, you can learn with whatever expertise you have gained in this particular tool. That should be the focus, because like I already mentioned, there are hundreds of tools in each category, particularly monitoring tools. Is it possible for you to learn all the 100 tools? No one, it's not possible for anyone. No one will know all the 100 tools. If you know one tool, we will be switching across. Actually, like initially I have used GitHub. Initially I have used Bitbucket. Later on, another project, another company is using GitHub. I have switched very easily without any effort. So now I know Bitbucket, GitHub as well. So that's how these are all similar tools. If anyone know GitHub, it's very easy to use Bitbucket and vice versa. And in the current project, we are using both Bitbucket and GitHub. But it's not that you first sit and learn all the tools. It would be never ending. I think I answered all the queries. If you still have any queries, feel free to reach us on this number. Okay, at any time you can call or WhatsApp on this number, reach out, clarify your queries and get set. So we'll start tomorrow. We'll join at the same time. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for spending your weekend time with us. Hope it's beneficial and helpful. And before that, let me share the quiz results. And you can use the same Zoom link tomorrow as well. I'm sharing the quiz results. Hope you all got the queries. Yes, Rahul. How to use YAML for CI/CD pipelines will be covered. Kamran, please reach out on this number for more details. Please reach out on this number. Hope you all got the quiz results. %90 participation is there now. Thank you everyone for participating in the quiz. And I believe you all got the results, see the answers now. Any queries, you can let me know. All right, then have a good day. See you all tomorrow. Have a happy weekend. Thank you all for joining once again. See you all. Bye.